Hi Virgo, it's Jenny Fitterer here, and I have your March Tarotscope. I have a single card for you for the month of March. The first 2/3 of March is Pisces season, then we'll have the equinox, and then that will begin Aries season. So the card that I have for you this month is the Six of Cups reversed. So this is the way it looks the right way up. So we have these two young children sitting together like in a portrait. Bunch of cups filled with flowers around them. There's this big picture frame above them with some birds, and then along the outside there's this sort of jellyfish with some closed eyes, it looks like there, and it came out upside down like that. Okay, so we are going to see what the Six of Cups has for you this month, Virgo. Okay, here we go. Six of Cups, Back to the Future. This is the only card showing the cups filled with flowers, representing the blossoming of inner life. The card clearly indicates what is needed. Even as a grown-up, you can and may be a child again. Leave the pain of childhood behind and return to the openness and joy of your early days. This is, of course, easier said than done. The card shows the outline of a jellyfish, demonstrating how difficult it is to grasp the true influence of early conditioning. Although experiences from childhood and early adolescence fill every cell of our being, they are very often hard to grasp. The bird has a double meaning. It warns you to be aware of your eccentricities and pipe dreams, and at the same time encourages you to be true to your personal ideals and higher perspectives. In order to differentiate between a pipe dream and an ideal, you have to deal with your childhood days and with the children in your life. Carefully evaluate your emotional experience. What was good and what less so? How can you recreate the beauty of yesteryear, and how can you prevent past pain from surfacing? How can you cope with old threats or old negative feelings should these reoccur? Today you have more alternatives and many more possibilities. Sort out your feelings. Seize the chance to let go of old fears and fulfill your true desires. This will rejuvenate and empower you. Practical advice. Dig up your memories until you can bury old feuds. Talk to your inner child. Leave your childish behavior behind and do what you as a grown-up have wanted to do for a long time. Okay, so this card, that's definitely one of the inner child work kind of cards. And in this case, it's really talking about, kind of how our early childhood conditioning always does kind of play a part in our adulthood. But it's kind of offering that as a neutral thing because there's both good and bad elements to it. So there's the whole, we're kind of more used to thinking now about negative childhood experiences or traumas and how that can shape our adult experiences depending on, the coping skills that we did or did not develop as children and how that plays into adulthood, but also the positive aspects of the joys, the dreams, the excitement and enthusiasm that we had as a child, which maybe we then kind of learn the adult way to do things and we're like, oh, we shouldn't be childish anymore. And so we squelch those really positive things. And so in that case, trying to get more in touch with the inner child in a playful way or as a way to reconnect us to our core dreams and values, that's a really helpful thing to do as well. So doing inner child work isn't always just like dealing with pain and trauma. It can also be dealing with delight and joy and enthusiasm. So it's really just kind of offering this invitation to kind of go back in time, kind of see what comes up when exploring and inquiring softly into kind of those child sort of things, and then bringing up and growing up that child is not the same thing as rejecting or abandoning the child. So thinking about this whole like do what you as a grown-up has wanted to do for a long time, that can be like behaving and doing all the things that you as a child really wished you could do, but you didn't have the adult agency to do so. You didn't have the agency, didn't have the finances. It was just a dream when you were a child. And now that you're an adult, it's what your adult self wants to do may be greatly informed by your childhood desires. So it's not just like this sense of, oh, I'm being childish and now I've grown past that. That's one of the ways actually that we can kind of harm our inner child is by sort of being too excited to be grown up, or having this idea that being grown up means being completely separate from our child selves instead of just being the autonomous, individuated and wiser elder version of what the child is growing into. So the child is the seed, the potential that grows into a tree. It's not like there are totally different species that we're like done with that, ready for adulthood. So yeah, there's, I mean, obviously it's a deeply complex topic to be discussing, kind of child work, inner child work. But that's what this card is kind of suggesting this month. This month being the first 2/3 of the month being Pisces season. Pisces very much has, it is the 12th zodiac, so it's the final zodiac in the energetic year, and then Aries season begins a new year. So already any kind of new year kind of vibe often has that period of reflection of thinking, okay, what has come before? What do I really want moving forward? But Pisces is also really, really connected to the dream world. It's connected to fantasy. It's connected to kind of esoteric realms, or any of the realms that are not here tangibly in front of us. And so there's tapping into our child state can be a really good way to engage with Pisces energy, because of the realm that fantasy has in the child mind, and how so often we exist in fantasy and fanciful play as children. And sometimes we think that growing up means facing reality. We're often told that a lot, as in killing the fantasy, killing the dream world. And so we see fantasizing as this childish pastime that we move past, and now we're supposed to be, serious reality adults. And that, this invitation is like, well, why not reclaim the fantasy? Why not reclaim the dream and then meld it with reality? So it's not this distinct either, fantasy and imagining things that can't be, and then being really hurt and jaded by the realities of the world. Or it can be, or escaping into fantasy because we can't deal with the world. It can be this using dream and fantasy to think about what is possible, and then creating from possibility something that we manifest in reality, and having that pipeline of things start with the dream and the fantasy, and then gets filtered into reality, so we don't have the full fantasy plunked into reality. But we do want to start. We start with the dream, and then we can create something more practical or more adult than just what our child visions are. But it's such a rich seed of potential that then life can grow from. So this card is really, offering you at this time to lean into the Pisces season of dreaming, and that child nature of the fantasy, and what your dreams were and wishes were in that innocent stage when anything was possible. And then we get to play with bringing some amount of that into reality of whatever your goals might be. So, and that kind of starts really nicely with Aries season. Aries isn't, it's not so much a season of like major manifestation, but it's creation, it's creativity, it's that initial spark of life. It's that birthing of a new thing. So it's the beginning of creation. It's not the end goal, but it's allowing that dream to start to be birthed. And then the practical realities and creation and difficulties can kind of build on top of that. But Aries is this like open potential of a new life and new birth. So that happens at equinox. So yeah, it's really looking like, Virgo, you get to spend the first 2/3 of this month kind of dreaming up some things, maybe trying to, one of the elements of Virgo can certainly be very practical, very diligent. And so sometimes it might be, if you believe that like practical diligence has to always mean only tangible things, then this might feel kind of challenging. But Virgo, Pisces is the opposite sign, the polarized sign to Virgo. So in this Pisces season, you might kind of have a bit of, it might feel actually pretty homey for you, and a bit challenging, because Pisces is inviting the dream and the vision part that is the contrast to the Virgo energy of the work, doing the work. So this is the invitation that, in order to get to get the fuel and the vision for the work of what you might want to create in this world, it needs to start with the vision, so that you always have that fuel and that dream energy to keep going during the journey of the work. So that's what's coming up for you this month. Leaning into the vision, the fantasy, and playing with the child memories and seeing what can be kind of brought up from that. And then after equinox, we have this Aries spark of creativity and life of, okay, like let's start to grow, let's start to create some of these dreams and bring them into reality slowly. So That's what's up for you. If you want any assistance, the Pisces season forecast is up and available on the YouTube channel. It is pay what you can. Because Pisces season starts in February, this month the Pisces pay what you can donation is going to a organization in support of Black History Month, because February is Black History Month. It's not going to be, the donations are not going to me this month. So do please support that resource and organization really generously, and then I will be supporting you with the information that's in the Pisces season workshop and a lot more transits that are happening, as well as another tarot reading, so definitely check that out. Best of luck, Virgo. Have a wonderful March, and I will see you next month.